In this lecture, we're going to look at 7 words connected to business finance, business money. And the 7 words are gross, net, liquidate, quarter, return, tariff, quota. The first word is gross. Gross. The word gross, when talking about money, means total, the whole amount. So there's a picture of an apple. It's a whole apple. So gross means whole. For example, Apple recorded a gross profit last year of $88 billion. So this is before they had to pay out things like tax. So their total profit was $88 billion. This bank account offers a gross interest rate of 3.4%. So in other words, before tax. She earned $236,000 gross last year. So gross here is being used as an adverb. So she earned a gross amount. She earned gross. Titanic grossed $28 million in its opening weekend. So here it's being used as a verb. So again, before they paid out tax, the amount that Titanic made was $28 million. It's the gross amount. So gross, as I said before, it can be used as a verb, grosses, grossing, grossed, but normally it's used as a noun or an adjective. So we talk about gross profits, gross income, gross interest, and here it's used as a verb. The movie grossed. And some synonyms: total, whole, entire, and also pre-tax. Pre-tax, before tax. So gross, the total amount of something before taxes have been taken away. The next word is net. Net. So a net amount, as opposed to a gross amount, a net amount is one which remains when everything that should be taken away, such as tax, has been taken away. So it contrasts with gross. We talk about gross profit before tax, net profit after tax. For example, last year we saw an increase in our net profit. So a net profit is what remains after taxes and expenses have been subtracted. Net incomes are expected to rise next year. So after tax incomes. So this is how much people earn after they've paid tax. Profits are just over $50,000 net. So here net is being used as an adverb. Talk about net income, net profit, net gain, and net of something. Some synonyms: final, remaining, eventual. But these are not close synonyms. Net is quite a precise word. Net. The next word is liquidate. Liquidate. If you liquidate a company, then you close it down, you finish the company, and you sell all of its assets, usually because the company is in debt and it needs to pay off the debt. So you liquidate the company, you sell off its assets. And it comes from liquid. So when you turn assets, buildings, machinery, if you liquidate it, you're turning it into money. liquid cash. Some example sentences. A unanimous vote was taken to liquidate the company, so to close the company. The court has appointed a receiver to liquidate the company. So a receiver is someone who does the liquidating. The company closed down operations and began liquidating its assets. So it started to sell off its assets for money. Liquidate is a verb, so liquidates, liquidating, liquidated. The process, the noun, is liquidation. Liquidation, so liquidation is the process of liquidating a company. Some common collocations: you liquidate a company, you liquidate assets, so you turn assets into money. And we talk about voluntary liquidation. So when a company wants to, it decides itself to close down. It's a voluntary liquidation. But sometimes companies are told by a judge, by a court, that they must close down, and that's a compulsory liquidation. Some synonyms: sell off or sell up, pay off. So there you are, liquidate. The next word is quarter. Quarter. Now, in business terms, a quarter is a fixed period of time, 3 months, a quarter of a year, 3 months. Companies often divide their financial year into 4 quarters, into 4 periods of 3 months. Quarter. Some example sentences: the company's third quarter results will be published tomorrow. The company performed better than expected in the current financial quarter. It makes no difference whether dividends are paid quarterly or annually. So here, quarterly is an adverb, the adverb form of quarter. Quarterly. And some common collocations: the first quarter, also of course the second, the third, the fourth quarter, the previous quarter, the current quarter. And as an adverb we can talk about quarterly profits. No synonyms really, it just simply means 3 months. Quarter. The next word is return. Return. A return on an investment is the profit you get from that investment. For example, profits have improved, but the return on our investments remains low. Higher returns on an investment usually mean higher risk. The company showed lower returns this year. So it's a noun, so the plural is returns. And some common collocations: we expect a return on our investments. We maximize a return. We can talk about a higher return or a lower return, and annual return. So the annual amount we get back on our investments is the annual return. Some synonyms: profit, earnings, so profit on an investment, earnings on an investment, income, yield, and revenue. Revenue. So return. The next word, and in fact the next 2 words, are connected with trade. And the first of the words is tariff. Tariff. A tariff is a tax that a government collects on goods and sometimes services that come into a country. So, for example, Canada wants to eliminate tariffs on agricultural goods. So, agricultural goods coming into Canada, Canada wants to remove those taxes on goods coming into Canada. Protectionist policies lead to a rise in tariffs. So if you increase tariffs, you're protecting your country from imports. The WTO has been successful in reducing tariffs globally. So tariff is a noun, so you can talk about tariffs. A tariff on goods, a tariff on imports. If they go up, if tariffs go up, we talk about a tariff increase or a tariff reduction. And some common synonyms for tariff: tax, duty. Duty is a very common synonym for tariff. Levy, excise, and charge. So tariff. The next word is quota. Quota. A quota is a limited number, a limited amount of something which is officially allowed into a country. So we can talk about a quota of meat, a quota of electronic goods. And quotas are often used in trade agreements between countries. So for example, South Korea now imposes quotas on beef imports to protect its weak farm industry. So South Korea says that only a certain amount of beef can come into South Korea. The quota of 4 tickets per person had been reduced to 2. The new law will force employers to adopt a quota system when recruiting workers. So quota is a noun, so quotas. And we talk about a quota system. You impose a quota. You can have a quota on imports. If you're specifying the amount, you say a quota of 10 tons. So 10 tons of meat, for example. And some synonyms: allowance, allocation. But quota is quite a precise noun. Quota. So there are your 7 words for business finance: gross, net, liquidate, quarter, return, tariff, quota. So can you remember these words? So have a go at the practice quiz and the vocabulary record to help you remember those 7 words.